Hello everybody, and welcome to our penultimate match of week number 2 in the St. Louis VGC Draft League. Today we have Keorra, coach of the Hypnotizers, up against Vybruh, coach of the Hydra Appendages. So Keorra was able to get a win in week 1, while Vybruh is still looking to secure their first win of the season. So let's load in and see what we're looking at. So on the blue side, we have Sneasler, Milotic, Mega Steelix, Meowscarada, Wyrdeer, and Emolga. On Vybruh side, we see the Mega Gengar, Grimmsnarl, Vivillon, Mega Slowbro, Altaria, and Bellibolt. So immediately right off the bat, I look at both sides and think of the speed interactions. The Mega Gengar, I believe, is the fastest Pokemon in terms of base speed on the field, and with it and the Grimmsnarl, you can see some Perish trapping shenanigans, always a possibility, including with the Altaria. But there is potential for switching. I don't know if Milotic gets U-turn, but perhaps we'll see it. Or flip turn, but we could see Meowscarada with U-turn, we could see Volt switch on Emolga, so there are ways to avoid being completely trapped if you're Keorra. Now, that being said, Keorra, I think, needs to worry about dual screens with Grimmsnarl. That's always a threat. Fortunately, the great thing about that first pickup for Keorra, the Sneasler, does mean that it can handle the Grimmsnarl fairly well. So as we load into the battle, let's see what we are going to be looking at for our leads. We see the Mega Slowbro and the Grimmsnarl up against the Sneasler and Meowscarada. So the Prankster does have the initiative here in this match. Could go for screens, but not something you necessarily want to do into Meowscarada. Of course, being able to go for that guaranteed crit flower trick. But this Sneasler doesn't particularly love staring down this Slowbro, which can probably take an attack from the Meowscarada. It's incredibly physically bulky, especially if it Mega Evolves, going up to 180 base defense. You know, people call Mega Aggron the wall, but Slowbro's almost as bulky and has access to a recovery move. And with the Grimmsnarl playing support for it, it could be sticking around for quite some time. But no, the Grimmsnarl's just going to hard switch out, not showing anything like a parting shot, perhaps not wanting to activate a white herb. We see a fake out going into the Slowbro, and a double up into that slot perhaps? No! Vybruh reads the flower trick into the Grimmsnarl slot and switches into a 4x resist, able to take some chip damage. But now, the Protean has turned the Meowscarada into a pure grass type, if I saw that correctly. Which means that in future turns, if this Prankster Grimmsnarl comes back in, it can affect it with something like a parting shot or some other priority move. And we'll see, we could see a Rage Powder coming out from the Vivillon here, just trying to protect this Slowbro as it sets up. Now, it's very interesting, the Slowbro is now immune to critical hits, so that flower trick is not going to be doing boosted damage into it. So we'll see, this is one of the very few times you'll see this damage come out with no super effective texts. Pollen Puff goes straight into the Meowscarada and instantly takes it out. People think of it just as support healing up your partner, which it can do into this Slowbro, but it's fairly powerful, and the Iron Defense is stopped by the taunt. Keorra predicting, hey, I want this taunt because it's good into your Grimmsnarl, it's good into any sort of uncrittable machine tactics you may have with the Slowbro, and I'm just not going to deal with it. So Vybruh taking a commanding position in this game number 1, and we saw that the Pollen Puff came out before what the Sneasler went for, so that's either a very bulk invested Sneasler or a Choice Scarf Vivillon. We see the Mega Steelix come out. It's very physically tanky, but it's not facing up against physical Pokemon at this time, you would have to imagine. We haven't seen any of the attacks from this Mega Slowbro, and it has the stats to really be a special attacker as opposed to a physical attacker, but I'm not sure if it has access to Body Press. So we'll see going forward. That taunt really saved Keorra from being in a possibly untenable position. We haven't seen any special attackers. That Emolga might actually be very critical in this matchup if Vybruh continues to rely on the Slowbro, but we see the Slowbro swap out, going straight into the Grimmsnarl as the Steelix clicks a Mega Evolution, going for that Mega Form, going for the Sheer Force, able to output pretty good damage with a really good typing. And we see the Pollen Puff that does imply a Choice Scarf set, just trying to potentially break a sash on the Sneasler. We didn't see it on the Meowscarada, and we see a Kiba Berry on the Grimmsnarl, protecting it from that super effective poison type damage. I'm not sure if that'll help it live another one, but here comes a Heavy Slam into the Vivillon, and it just goes straight down. So you have to wonder, did that allow Vybruh to get the positioning that they wanted? So we still don't know what's in the back. You have a half HP Slowbro, Mega Slowbro, which is immune to crits. You could set up a Reflect before it could potentially get taunted out of going for Iron Defenses, just to help keep it alive. And Vybruh's really considering to bring back the Slowbro or reveal the 4th Pokemon. We'll see what happens here. I'm not sure. So it's Lois, which is the Slowbro. So now there's a really interesting decision on Keorra's end. You know that you want to taunt this Mega Slowbro and not let it set up Iron Defenses. But there's also the Grimmsnarl that you'd also just like to take out before it can do anything. Of course, you can rely on the Steelix for that. You have to imagine a Heavy Slam would be able to do it. But regardless of what you do, the Grimmsnarl will be going first due to Prankster. We haven't seen any moves that this Grimmsnarl has. It's a complete mystery. So I wonder. And we see a counter taunt. Not the most common move on Grimmsnarl, but it stops a potential taunt into the Slowbro, who gets poisoned by the Dire Claw. That's not what you want to see at all. It does go for an Iron Defense, but that's a lot of residual damage going out. A Heavy Slam goes straight into the Grimmsnarl, so that's the last bit of shenanigans it will be able to output in this game. And you have to wonder, will the Slowbro be able to stall out enough? It's faints in 2 turns if it doesn't have access to any sort of healing. We saw the Pollen Puff earlier, but that Vivillon's already faded. You have to imagine Slack Off is one of Slowbro's moves of choice. With that Iron Defense, it's not really scared of either of the Pokemon on Keorra's side of the field. But we'll see what this Altaria has in store. Not the most offensive Pokemon, but does have access to a wide array of tricks. So I'm very interested to see what's going forward here. Again, that poison was incredibly clutch. Another Dire Claw, just trying to get down the Slowbro to where a Poison Tick will take it out. We see a Fire Spin doing decent chip damage and trapping the Steelix. Crit probably won't matter. It might have prevented it from taking an extra turn of the Fire Spin residual, but it's probably not going. Okay, so the Citrus Berry is going to help the Altaria stay alive for one more turn, but Taunt only has got one more turn left, and then this Slowbro is just going to have to handle being poisoned for the rest of the game. I suppose it's possible that the Altaria is packing something like a Heal Bell, but I really think you'd want to take out this Sneasler as quickly as you can, just to prevent it from getting off another taunt on this Slowbro. I'm not sure what all's left on Keorra's side of the field. what Keorra has in the back, rather. But this Slowbro, it even poisoned, if it can get set up, it might be just fine if the Emolga stayed at home. If it doesn't get taunted. We see another Dire Claw, this time going into the Altaria and gets put to sleep. You have to imagine that's probably just going to wrap this up. Another Slack Off on the Slowbro is going to take it back to full, and this Heavy Slam is going to take out the Altaria. So now it's Slowbro against the world, and I honestly think it would have a moderate chance here if it didn't get that early poison. The taunt is gone, so you have to imagine the Sneasler is going to go for it again, just to ensure that the Slowbro cannot heal. We haven't seen any offense from the Slowbro yet, just Iron Defense and Slack Off. You have to imagine you'll see a move like Surf or Scald, maybe a Psychic move, but we'll see. Again, but you hate seeing your wall just put on a timer like that, and there is the Emolga, the Pokemon that really says, hey, I'm not the strongest, but I can deal out enough damage to make you respect me as a threat. There is the Earthquake from the Steelix, that Levitating Flying type, a Disquake combo of sorts potentially here. But now, importantly, this does mean that the Slowbro was not taunted. So it could try to go for recovery shenanigans with Slack Off, but surely this Emolga, with that super effective Thunderbolt or Discharge of choice, will be able to wear down this Slowbro faster than it can recover along with the Steelix. I think this is probably going to just about do it for Vybruh here in this game number 1. A good strategy, again, potentially able to make it if that first Dire Claw didn't get the poison, able to set up just fine. There's the Discharge, we see the Disquake coming out, and surely this will be enough. A Body Press will take out the Emolga, but after the damage from the Steelix, after the poison damage, I think this will just take it out. This is a single target Earthquake, and yes, 12% damage okay, rounding errors there, does leave the Slowbro at 1 HP, so this Sneasler is going to be able to get credit for the final KO here, presumably with a Fake Out or Dire Claw. And so you really have to think, if you're Vybruh, do you want to run the same strategy back? It looked like it was going fairly well. That Sneasler taunt was absolutely a critical tech by Keorra in order to stop a potential Mega Slowbro from setting up. You'd think a Mega Slowbro would handle that Pokemon, that Sneasler, better, but that taunt just completely flips the script. So well done by Keorra, anticipating that and having the right prep for it. So now we have to look at how do we want to handle this next game. Both players having to consider. Keorra did not bring the Mega Gengar, and you saw the Fire Spin on the Altaria. That could imply it's going for Manual Perish Trap, which is very interesting, but I'm not sure, based on the results of that game number 1, if it has the Bolt to really be able to sit around long enough while trapping. So we're hopping into game number 2, wanting to see some adjustments from both our players. We could see Mega Gengar come out. Again, we didn't get any proof that there was a Choice Scarf on the Meowscarada, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Meowscarada does naturally outspeed the Sneasler, so it going before the Sneasler doesn't reveal anything of the sort. And it was able to go faster than the Vivillon, which we do believe was Choice Scarf, so it probably is a Choice Scarf. So a Mega Gengar would be threatened by any sort of Dark Stab being thrown out by the Meowscarada should it be led. But again, I'm just not sure this is the team you really want to run Perish Trap against that Keorra brought. So maybe we'll see the Steelix the Slowbro come up and say, hey, as long as you don't, as long as you aren't allowed to taunt me, as long as I focus down the Sneasler early, I'll just win. Maybe we'll see something like the Hurricane coming out from the Vivillon, and we might see it, but it is along with the Gengar this game, and while Keorra and brings the same 2 Pokemon, Sneasler and Meowscarada. So, we do believe, based on Game 1, that the Meowscarada is Scarfed. We've only seen it click that one move. Meanwhile, the Mega Gengar is not really scared of the Sneasler in any capacity, but is scared of that Meowscarada. So we'll see what happens. Of course, the Gengar could just protect and say, hey, I'm just going to stall out and let this Meowscarada get taken out by a Pollen Puff. But again, the Sneasler can just click Fake Out into the slot of the Bug type there, the Vivillon, and prevent it from doing anything. And so we see the Mega Evolution immediately saying, alright, no matter what, you're stuck in here for a turn. I want to see what you're up to. I want to see what Protean you do. I want to see if you do whatever. It does immediately just go for Protect, able to keep itself alive for at least this turn. And we do see that Fake Out into the Vivillon, and you have to wonder, was the obvious play click? Yes, just a Throat Chop into the Mega Gengar. And you have to imagine, I didn't see Protean there. Oh, wow! Incredible tech by Vybruh. The Shield Dust on the... Oh, wow, sorry, I'm just really caught off guard. Incredible. You usually see Friend Guard or Compound Eyes on the Vivillon, but the Shield Dust acting as a covert cloak item back in the day just allows it to outspeed and immediately take out the Meowscarada. Incredible move. And that would explain why we didn't see anything like a Hurricane without the Compound Eyes accuracy boost. You really don't want to be clicking that if you can avoid it. But now the Mega Gengar is threatened by an Earthquake from the Mega Steelix here. But neither of these Pokemon can switch out at the moment. The Vivillon isn't threatened per se by an Earthquake, but really doesn't want to be locked into a Bug-type attack at this time. We will see, what does the Mega Gengar go for here? It does have the speed advantage. Instead just chooses to switch out, saying, I don't want an Earthquake, I'm going to let you Earthquake, and I'm immune to what you have. The Steelix does go for a Mega Evolution. You have to wonder, will it go for an Earthquake? I'm not sure how heavy Mega Gengar is. It doesn't look like it would be that heavy, but there are stranger things. We see a Pollen Buff just going, chipping off a sash that the Sneasler may or may not have. And it just goes for Taunt into that Mega Gengar slot, maybe predicting some sort of Perish shenanigans. And there's a Heavy Slam saying, hey, I think that this Pokemon is the bigger threat. So the Vivillon goes down, but really good job baiting the Meowscarada to stay in and just eat a Pollen Puff there. Now we have the Altaria in. We know it can do some Fire Spin chip damage on the Mega Steelix, but you really want to see something else. And outside of potentially the Mega Slowbro, there's not really a ton of good options for Mega Steelix in the 6 that Vybruh brought. Yes, Mega Gengar will do good damage into it, but it probably won't be able to get a one-hit KO, and from last game we know that the Mega Steelix is faster than this Altaria, or it's the weirdest speed tie I've ever seen. Mega Steelix, of course, not being especially fast as far as base stats go, but that just implies that a lot of speed was invested to be able to allow it to outspeed some of Vybruh's Pokemon. So Sneasler, again, doesn't really have anything it can do against a Mega Gengar. Can't switch out though, so maybe you expect to see a double up into this Altaria, just taking it out before it can do anything. If you can take it out, you can force the Gengar in a bad position with potential Perish Trap shenanigans. So we do see, it looks like we are seeing a double up. That critical hit was just absolutely brutal, and so Steelix dodges the Fire Spin, so maybe it was a speed tie. But we see the Heavy Slam protected, and really, really dangerous position for the Mega Altaria at this moment at just over 50%. Again, rounding errors. It's not quite at half health. It doesn't eat its Citrus Berry, making it much more vulnerable to a future attack if another crit happens that could potentially high roll and take out this Mega Altaria. But there is no Fire Spin chip damage on the Steelix. I think Vybruh was really counting on that to just do a little bit more in order to allow a Shadow Ball or some similar move from this Gengar to take it out. We see the Bellibolt coming in, so very risky. We see a Psychic Noise going into the Sneasler. Absolutely huge knowledge, having a move to just instantly delete that Pokemon. And there goes a Heavy Slam. So let's see, is this Gengar bulk invested? It is able to survive that. I'm not sure, again, is that due to a surprising weight stat on Gengar? And here comes an Emolga. Now, Emolga, again, great into the Slowbro, but it didn't come to play today. And we could see some very interesting shenanigans. We could see a soak from the Bellibolt saying, hey, your Disquake shenanigan just isn't going to work. You're going to be taking out your own Steelix with a Discharge. So I'd really like to see if that happens. Of course, Earthquake is incredibly powerful, but Gengar can switch out into the Altaria and say, hey, I'll dodge at least the Earthquake part of this. And I don't think an Emolga with 75 special attacks will be able to completely eliminate me with a Discharge. Actually, I'm going to look up how heavy is Mega Gengar. We see a Perish come out from the Gengar saying, I can just outstall you. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. I have Altaria in the back that will not fall to a Perish song. So I think that is what Vybruh is going for in this endgame, saying, I just have to survive 3 turns. Goes for a Light Screen just to keep itself that side up. Earthquake comes out, so the Bellibolt could go down. No, is able to survive at least 1 attack, gets Electromorphosis, but neither of the Pokemon on Keorra's side of the field are worried about it. Does get some leftovers, might allow it to take a move, but I don't think it will survive another double up, no matter what. So, okay, so Mega Gengar gets no heavier than normal Gengar, which is not especially heavy, just under 90 pounds, or just over 40 kilograms for those of that metric system. So now the game is protect the Altaria, and you have to wonder, is it packing Roost? We've seen Fire Spin, I believe we've seen Protect, and we've definitely seen Protect now. I would expect a double Protect, because then there will just be 1 turn, and you need both Pokemon to take out this this Altaria. That's the only threat, because the Steelix is the slowest Pokemon Perish Song. Even if you ignore the Bellibolt over there, it will go down before the Steelix from the Perish Song, allowing Keorra to win this match. So, it all comes down to this turn. Will a double up into the flying type dragon, the Altaria, be enough to take it out? Does it have something like a Roost or a Substitute to potentially do fine? Doesn't go for a double Protect. We see the Discharge. It doesn't get a hit on this Mega Altaria. No paralysis by the looks of it. No, it does. That's actually massive. It is able to eat a Citrus Berry, getting it up to about 60% HP. Bellibolt just goes for another Light Screen, and oh, it does outspeed the Steelix, but does the Steelix take it out with a Heavy Slam? No! So, it all comes down to this turn. Does the Altaria get fully paralyzed, or is it able to go for a Protect? If it is fully paralyzed, it will be taken out. 1 in 8 chance for Keorra to clutch through here. You have to wonder, will it happen? And again, that's very interesting information. The Steelix, even at half of the Altaria's speed, the Altaria is still able to outspeed it, doesn't get fully paralyzed, goes for Protect, and Vybruh is just so relieved that 12.5% chance did not happen. It's Pokemon, it does happen, happened on the last turn, but this was the turn where it mattered. There's a Volt Switch, just getting information. Keorra learns that Vybruh has Volt Switch on that Pokemon. Vybruh learns that Keorra is running the Motor Drive. Again, not expecting anything different, but it could be static. We see the Emolga feint to the Gengar. We see the Bellibolt feint to the Perish Song. Good night, sweet prince. And here comes the Steelix feinting, going from full to 0. And that was a really well orchestrated end game by Vybruh, saying, I know for a fact that I will be able to outstall you as long as I can get this Perish Song out now that you're on your last 2 Pokemon. Really well played by Keorra as I update the score here. And now, if you are Keorra, you have to think, okay, my squad is very good, has plenty of tricks to be able to handle this Mega Slowbro. Do I have enough to handle this Perish Trap mode? Again, the Shield Dust on the Vivillon, I think, was the absolute MVP play of that game, taking out the Meowscarada, that Choice Scarf Meowscarada, so it was not a threat to the Gengar, which really, really came in absolutely clutch for the rest of that game. Keorra had to move from the back foot the rest of the game, and again, brought it very close, but Mega Gengar was able to just tally up the KOs on the scoreboard. Oop, Vybruh's score is not at 2 at the moment. Please let me correct that. So, here in Game 3, it's really interesting because we've seen both modes from Vybruh. We've seen the Perish Trap, we've seen the Protect the President on the Slowbro, but now we have to wonder, is this the time for the Wyrdeer, perhaps? I don't know. The Wyrdeer would be safe from any sort of Shadow Balls, but that doesn't seem to be Gengar's game. And Vybruh's team is not really physically inclined. So Wyrdeer Intimidates don't seem like they will do all that much. I would like to see a little bit more from the Grimmsnarl. Haven't really seen it do much of anything other than taunt in game number 1. Curious what else it has access to. But Keorra also still has the Milotic, the absolute MVP of their team last week, if not for the entire league last week. But maybe not what it wants to see in this series. We see another Mega Gengar mode coming out. Same leads as game number 2, but this time the Sneasler knows that Fake Out into the Vivillon isn't really worth anything, which means that this Meowscarada is under massive threat. And if it's the same Pokemon on Keorra's side of the field, you do have 2 Bug Resists sitting in the back. Of course, if Vybruh reads a switch from the Meowscarada, this Gengar could just go for Psychic Noise straight into the Sneasler and say, hey, I'm going to take you out or knock you down to your sash, depending. So it really does come down to mind games in this 50-50. A lot of knowledge has been extracted from both sides. That I don't think there are any more surprises lurking that could affect this turn number 1. But how will it be played? It really comes down to the reads. We see the swap from the Vivillon, and we see the Grimmsnarl come out. We see the Mega Evolution from the Gengar, so it is staying in, not swapping out from a Night Slash or any other move from this Meowscarada. And you have to imagine, yes, the Meowscarada stays in. Do we see just a double up of attacks into the Grimmsnarl slot? And we do, but now we know it's locked into Triple Axle. It's not Protean, notably. We have confirmed that in previous matches. Previous sets, games, however the right terminology is. But now this Meowscarada is stuck in Triple Axle, which will do good damage, but without Protean making it stab, it's not that much, and now the Gengar is incredibly threatening with Sludge Bomb and with a potential Sludge Bomb and with the Psychic Noise we know it has, it will shut down this Sneasler or potentially this Meowscarada. And of course, this Grimmsnarl can just go for whatever it wants at this point. It goes for a fake out saying, hey, Meowscarada, you're not going to get a chance to get a triple axle off. I'm just going to take you out with a Sludge Bomb. My Gengar is now the fastest Pokemon on either team, and I'm not at all worried. Now, we see a taunt coming out from the Sneasler saying, okay, I'm willing to not worry about my Meowscarada, but you are not getting a move off into me. We see the Steelix come out, and whereas before the Mega Gengar wasn't in, the Steelix was able to swap into a Emolga for Disquake shenanigans. Now the Sneasler's stuck. Unless it's got U-turn that it's holding onto in the back pocket, it's not going to be able to do anything to avoid getting hit by an Earthquake. Now we do know that a double up from the Steelix, or a Heavy Slam from the Steelix, will not take out the Gengar. Maybe there's a Throat Chop or similar move hiding on this Sneasler to deal with this Mega Gengar, but I'm less confident. And the Mega Gengar says, yeah, I'll just swap out, go into this Altaria. I think this 4 will allow me to get the win here. And again, if Vybruh is able to take one more knockout, all it takes is one Perish Song and the game is probably over. There's the parting shot. We didn't see it in game 1, but it does allow pivoting. We could see the Mega Gengar come back in, taunt removed. In fact, we do see this. So there's a Dire Claw into the Gengar. That's not enough damage for a Heavy Slam to take it out. If it went into that slot, it could have. And we do double up into that slot now with the -1. The Gengar takes that fairly well. You'll need another Heavy Slam in order to take out the Mega Gengar. But that is actually critical for the survival here. Now, notably, the Sneasler is at full health. It has never gone down in one hit from full health. Every time it has been chipped just a little bit. So we'll see if the Psychic Noise, what it's able to do. We see the Sneasler go down to Sash, and that probably means Unburden is there. So it's probably going to outspeed. We see it go for Taunt into the Mega Gengar saying, okay, I am still going to shut you down. There's a Fire Spin getting the last little bit of chip into the Sneasler, and this Steelix is desperately, oh my goodness, Dragon Dance on the Steelix. So, oh, there's interesting shenanigans afoot. I've spoken with Keorra, and Keorra is aware of one of the very, very unique moves that Emolga has access to in Speed Swap. Could just grab the swap speeds with the Steelix and allow it to just go on a rampage here. But if the Altaria is able to get a Perish Song off here, you have to imagine that it will go out. We see the Protect and a Sludge Bomb into the Emolga. Emolga hangs on. The sheer power of Mega Gengar is massive. No Speed Swap shenanigans yet, but that is going to chip into this Gengar, and it goes down. So there's only one Pokemon left on the field that is threatened potentially, or that is threatening a Perish Song. And that's very dangerous. The Steelix is incredibly powerful and can probably outmuscle the rest of Vybruh's team. But if we have Perish Song on the Altaria, you have to imagine that it will be clicked on this turn alongside a Fake Out to take out the Emolga. So, does this Emolga have Protect? I don't believe we've seen that yet. It's mostly just clicked Discharge. So, it all comes down to, we saw the Fire Spin, we've seen Protect, We haven't seen Perish Song on the Altaria, but it could have it, could go for it, and could just make this last game a Perish Trap stall fest. There's the fake out. No Protect on the Emolga revealed, so the Emolga goes down. And there's the Perish Song. Even at +1 speed, Mega Steelix is so slow that it will not be able to go before. At neutral attack, this Heavy Slam is not going to take out the Altaria. And now I think it's just good game at this moment. We can see parting shots come out from the... we can see a parting shot come out from the Grimmsnarl. We can see protects from the Altaria. When it's 3 Pokemon to 1, Perish Trap teams feast. And Steelix just doesn't have a way to get through Protect. So a Protect on the on this Pokemon, just double protecting, saying, hey, I'm not at all concerned about what you're doing in this situation. We see the Perish count falling on all Pokemon on the field. Again, of course, Steelix is the slowest of all of them, but that doesn't matter if the if one of Vybruh's Pokemon switch out, or as long as there is a Pokemon in the back when all the Perish counts drop. But I expect this turn we'll see the swap from the Altaria and the parting shot into the Steelix, dropping its attack again. Maybe the Steelix will be able to get a crit and get a little bit more differential for Keorra. But at this point, that's really all we're looking at here, is just getting a bit of differential for the road for future weeks. There goes a Heavy Slam, and at -1, the Altaria is able to take it very well. And now the Steelix is the only one with a Perish timer left, and I think that'll do it. You maybe with a Mega Crit will be able to take out the Scarf Vivillon, sorry. The Vivillon says, I'm just going to swap out as well. I don't predict you to go for a Heavy Slam into this slot, perhaps. But just wanting to protect itself, or just letting Keorra have a bit of differential, or just knowing, hey, without a crit, I've got enough bulk on this guy to take a -1 Heavy Slam. Steelix goes down, and Vybruh wins Game 3, 3-0. Absolutely incredible series. Great usage of Perish Song. Great ability choice from the Vivillon. Absolutely turning Game 2 on its head and making Game 3 such a mind game in that first turn. Both of these players go into Week 3 with a 1-1 record, ready to keep their playoff dreams alive. Congratulations to Vybruh. Good games from Keorra. And with that, we'll see you in the next video for our final game of Week 2 of the St. Louis VGC Draft League. Goodbye!